I woke up speaking 5 languages, and what happened that they
Have you ever heard of foreign accent syndrome? Well, I have, but I've never met anybody who's suffered it or had it. But here on Over 50s Wisdom, we have Karen, and Karen has a story to tell. Karen, hello.
Good morning, Dave. How are you?
I'm great, and it's lovely to see you. And where are you at the moment in the world?
Right now, I'm in Alabama, and you got me on a good day because my English is quite well today.
Your English is quite well today. Elaborate a bit more here.
With the foreign accent, I have still a bit of a lisp today, but I have a European accent, and I grew up in the deep South, in Mobile, so I had a Cajun accent before this began.
Right. So, what accent are you speaking in now?
It's more it I'm well I'm speaking English, but uh, it's more I have more of a European type accent. Some days quite heavy, some days it sounds more French, some days it might sound more German.
So you don't
And
really know when you wake up on a morning how you're going to sound.
right. It's gotten a lot better through the years, but the weather will change it, the pressure of the weather, uh, different things like that, headaches, being sick, overtired. It used to be where I couldn't speak English up from a day to 6 months.
You literally
So,
couldn't speak English, so it wasn't just an accent.
no, and it also left me, I also was left with something called the Babylon effect
Okay,
syndrome.
okay. What we need to do here, Karen, I think for me and for the viewers, because we've never spoken before, is just go back a moment. So you were born in the deep south of America.
Right.
When did this foreign accent, foreign voice syndrome occur, and why
About
now?
2001 to 2002, I think. Uh, I had just moved here from the north, and I woke up and I had a spider on my neck had gotten through. I had my bed against the window, and it had bit me on the neck.
What kind of spider? Do you know?
Black widow.
Oh, right. I mean, we don't have them in England. Tell us more about a black widow. I mean, they're very dangerous spiders.
A black widow is quite dangerous. It's like it had bit me 4 times on the vein going to my brain.
Oh,
I brushed it, and it bit my arm, my right arm.
did you feel the first bite, or were you asleep?
That's what woke me. And within an hour, I broke out into a rash from head to toe and was having trouble breathing. And my nephew had me take 3 Benadryl, like antihistamines, to try to counteract it because I live up in the mountains, so it's quite a distance to the hospital.
But did you know what the consequences may have been with a black widow bite?
Well, no, I knew that they were poisonous, but the thing is, they never had any record of anyone having black widow venom on the brain
So it went
and
straight to your brain.
straight to my brain. Had it gone to my heart, I would have not survived.
Okay, so that was a luck of the draw then.
Right. It ended up um, settling on the top portion of your brain, and your brain is the top portion is what normal people use daily for memory, speech, um, just different things like that. You
So
know,
did you
that's the
feel
part
this effect, Karen?
of a person.
Sorry to interrupt. I mean, I just find this absolutely mind-boggling. So, did you feel the effect happening to you almost instantly? There was some changes in your brain.
Started with a rash. I got to the hospital. I looked like I had been burnt with oil all over. It took 3 days for that to go down. By the third day, I had no speech, and my it was fuzzy, and that's the only part I rem I remembered. It was fuzzy. Um, by the fourth day, my husband had was out of town. He returned, I got to the doctor and they couldn't understand what was going on. When I got to the hospital, unfortunately, they just thought I was having an asthma attack. And my niece and my son kept saying, no, mom got bit by a spider. You know, it's the black widow spider. And they said, oh, that she'd be dead by now.
Really?
They sent me to multiple doctors, throat specialists, and all kinds of doctors trying to figure out what was going on, because by the fifth day, I didn't know who I was.
So is this the point where your memory was going?
Yeah.
So your memory went first before this kind of you lost English.
My speech, I couldn't speak. I had no memory. My husband said I wouldn't let no one near me. I didn't know who anyone was. I I kind of locked myself into my bedroom with my parrot, and I would have nothing to do with anyone.
With your parrot?
Yeah, he was kind of my little lightsaber. He got me through it, I have to say.
Did he understand you?
No, he kind of watched over me and guarded me.
Wow. Okay. So what memories do you have of not having a memory? I mean, that's a very odd question, but do you know where I'm coming
That
from?
9 was the first 2 years after that, sending me to doctors. They didn't know what to do. Well, they sent me to a neurologist, and he did spinal blocks and blood tests, and it showed black widow venom, large amount on my.
When you woke up on a morning and you had no memory of who you were, people around you would have been, I assume, telling you who you were. What was it like hearing that and looking at pictures of yourself? I just can't get it into my head.
I didn't know who they were. My husband used to carry around our marriage license and our wedding picture so I would know he was okay.
You must have felt like you'd been kidnapped.
It was quite an ordeal.
And then you came out of that. Did your memory come back immediately or slowly?
No. It took 9 years, a little over 9 years.
Karen, what an experience. Do you know of anybody else like you that suffered a similar situation?
I am the only person that has had black widow venom on the brain and survived.
That's absolutely unbelievable. And what about these accents that come and go? So one morning you wake up, and do you sometimes forget English?
Well, I didn't speak for 2 years. And on the third year, they put me into a speech therapy, trying to help me to learn to speak again. Well, when I went for a year, and I would get so frustrated because as they talked to me, I would try to speak back, and I couldn't understand why no one could hear me. It was like being in a you know how you go to the cinema and you're watching a TV, you're watching the big screen, you see the cinema, everything around you is dark. You see the pictures, but the screen's not going to talk back to you. So it's kind of like watching a large movie and not being able to speak back.
And what about languages? Did you? I've heard of people waking up and being able to speak a foreign language. Did you have an element of that?
I speaking 5.
You were speaking what?
5. That's how they knew it was foreign accent syndrome.
Sorry,
and what happened?
You're in Alabama. I'm in Durham, England. So say that again, please.
I woke up speaking 5 languages, and what happened that they learned that I was speaking foreign accent, and I have this Babylon effect, is after a year of trying to figure out, because the neurologist thought I might have foreign accent, but we couldn't. He thought if they could get it figured out.
Okay, so hang on. You woke up speaking 5 languages. Which languages did you speak?
German, French, Italian, Spanish, and English.
It's absolutely remarkable. And what is the Babylon effect? Is that it?
Well, that's what the doctor called it. because when the spider damaged the top portion of the brain, that you could I also spoke Arabic
Oh, right, right.
and read it.
Wow, that is. I
Yeah.
mean, how do the doctors explain this, Karen? Because it's almost like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Well, they started doing, I became a guinea pig for about 2 years.
God.
They went through multiple medications, um, different tests. They pulled machines out that they hadn't used in 30 years. I had doctors come from all over the country, and they started to speak to a doctor, Nick Miller in London. I work, I, and that's where I met other people like me.
Oh, there are other
Now,
people.
oh yes,
How do
Kay
you-
Russell. There are several in the UK
no,
alone.
wow.
A dear friend of mine, Kay Russell, has it. She woke up speaking French. There is only a handful of men that it affected, probably five.
So
It affects
yours was through the venom of a spider. And how do other people suffer this
um,
disorder?
migraines, severe migraines, strokes, you know, uh, different things like that. And I have a friend in Scotland who woke up speaking Chinese.
It's absolutely remarkable. Are you recovered? I mean, or has this been a
Oh,
great thing? Do you still speak the languages?
only when my head is severely hurting,
Wow.
the pressure pain. Like when I travel back and forth to the UK, sometimes the pressure in the plane can affect it. My English will go more. Sometimes I'll have days that go out. I can't speak in, it could be one of the five languages. So
How do you cope day to day? Because you never know who you're going to be, literally, when you wake up in the morning.
my husband used to say, I don't cheat on my wife because I don't never know who she's going to be one day to the next. So I get a different woman every day.
5 different women, he's living the dream.
But it affects a lot. I mean, I didn't know who my mother was. I didn't
Bless you.
know anyone. Gradually, it come back. The reason they found out I was speaking foreign, I had foreign accent was during speech. I had to go for a CAT scan on my brain. So the speech therapist walked with my husband and I to go upstairs, and there was a young Spanish couple with a child. They were crying, and as my husband went to sit down, she waited because uh, they couldn't leave me alone because I didn't know where I was. You know, couldn't walk away from me. And they were talking, and I thought, oh, I know what they're saying. You know, in my brain, these people are talking. I spoke to them, and they answered, and it was the first time someone had answered me in 3 years.
Karen, how do the doctors explain this when it obviously takes years to
So,
learn language? How, I mean, explain the
what
working of
had,
the mind.
what had happened is because you use the top portion of your brain, mine was not able, I wasn't able to use that. Mine was damaged from the black widow venom. Black widow venom never leaves your body. So I will have it always. It's caused other problems, but luckily, um, I remember that being in the doctor's office, and my husband asked the neurologist, will she be like this forever? Because I couldn't speak. And he said, she may, and she may come back and she may lose it again. It depends where if the venom returns to the brain.
So, on a day-to-day basis now, are you living a relatively normal life, living with it?
Yes, I'm back working as I write music, started my company back. Um, I do volunteer work because I'm a writer and an artist. Um,
Do you
I'm
think
in
it is because you are a creative? So what you're a writer, you're an artist, as in a painter or a musician?
both.
Right. Okay. So how has the experience affected your creativity?
Well, I'll tell you, I started writing again because I'm a poet and I write music lyrics. When you have no memory and you sit there and you try and you're not able to speak, the one thing I missed most was words because I am a writer. And I started sketching because I couldn't speak. So I would do charcoals of people during the day because I was like, that was my diary,
That
you
was
know,
your way of communicating.
hmm by doing
Absolutely.
charcoal.
What a story. So, gosh, this has been a big chunk of your life. What advice, I was going to say, what advice can you offer viewers of Over 50s Wisdom if they're going through something similar? But I
Well,
doubt they are. So,
someone,
life generally, how's it made you feel about life?
I've had so much happen. I was blessed enough that I have two lives. I have before that and after. And where my brain doesn't work right here, I use three parts of my brain compared to you using one of yours. And even better because actually my IQ went up to 159 after that. Must have been a smart spider.
Listen, I want one of those spiders. I really do. I need one very badly. Oh, Karen,
But
you're amazing. Has it given you a better appreciation of life?
it it has given me it's given me hope that you can overcome things that you obstacles you think you can't.
You know,
And
what
as
a lovely sentence to end on, I think, Karen. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I just find it absolutely
well,
fantastic.
we'll have to meet when I come back over.
Brilliant. Well, listen, thanks for taking part.
Had I had not stopped to talk to that little Spanish couple that day, the doctors would not have broke down that I was speaking five languages in one sentence, one word from each sentence, and that's why they could not understand it. And
Well,
because of that,
no wonder your IQ went through the roof. Karen, listen,
I
it's been
can.
an absolute delight. Honestly, it's so interesting for me to meet you. And thanks again. Thanks for being on Over 50s Wisdom.
No problem. Anytime, Dave.
Bye bye.
Anytime. Bye bye.